I just can't give it up. Yes sir, what is going on YouTube? It is your boy Denali, aka Don Squally, and in today's video we are back at it with another Toyota Tundra installment, man. So for those of you guys who know, I've had this thing for quite a while. It's a high miler 2010 Toyota Tundra, just past 400,000 kilometers. And since in the time that I've owned this thing, I've just been absolutely impressed by the amount of money that I haven't had to spend on it. So far it's just been a belt and rear and front brakes now. And the thing's just been absolutely mint. But with any vehicle, as it gets older, things are bound to happen. And a couple months ago, this thing went into lit mode and threw a code. The code was a P2442, which had to do with the air injection pumps. Now, I had just finished power washing this thing, doing the undercarriage, getting up in the wheel wells underneath the truck. So I initially thought there was just moisture in the sensor because that was one of the causes that could throw this code and put it in a limp mode. So I let the thing run for a couple of hours in the driveway, and the code went away. I was able to drive it for another month or so, and then it ended up throwing a new code, and that code was a P0412, which again was related to the air injection pumps. So I started doing a little bit of research, and there's some valves that need to be changed. There's two pumps on top of the motor, I believe, that could potentially be the culprit. And here in Ontario, where I am, we don't have emissions currently. So I started looking into some alternate solutions for this problem, and I ended up finding this kit from Hewitt Technologies here, and it is, as you can see, a secondary air injection bypass kit here, and it comes with a couple block off plates, as you can see here, that goes right in between where the exhaust inlet comes up into those air injection pumps. And then it comes with an electrical harness here that essentially tricks the computer into thinking that these things are still functioning properly. And both of my codes were on the list of things that this kit is gonna fix. So with any luck, by the end of this video, we're gonna have a functioning, running and driving truck, and I'm not gonna have to worry about it going into limp mode. Now, one thing, if you are getting a code for the valves being stuck open, I'm not sure the exact code. It's not recommended to drive your truck, because if you drive it too much with those valves stuck open, the exhaust can mess up the sensors, and you will have to replace a couple more parts in order to get this kit to function correctly. So I'm hoping that I haven't done any damage, because I did drive it for about a month or so before this other code came up. But yeah, in today's video, we're going to be tackling this job. It's supposed to be a relatively quick job, but as with anything, filming and stuff like that, it could take a little bit more time. But that's about it for now. I'm gonna pop the hood on this thing, and we'll get started. Alrighty, and because we're gonna be getting into some electrical repairs here, the first thing that we're gonna want to do is disconnect the battery here. Now, I apologize for the messy engine bay. I didn't realize this thing was so filthy under here. And next up, I'm gonna pop off this engine cover and see if we can identify exactly where these block off plates need to go. Alrighty, so your first switching valve is this one right here, and your block off plate is gonna go on that pipe right there, and there is an orientation where your plate needs to go. So it goes gasket, and then your block off plate goes in there. And then the other one is on the passenger side, a little bit lower into the motor. That one does look a little tricky. I'll probably have to remove some harnesses, as you can see right there. Now, one thing that it did note is on the top here, there is another valve of some sort. This is the EGR. Don't touch that. It's the ones that are tucked in the back of the motors here. So I'm gonna go ahead, start with the block off plates here, and then once I get those installed, I'll let you know if I had any issues. If not, we'll just put them in and then move on to the next part, which is going to be the electrical. Alrighty, so as usual, nothing goes as planned here. Been fighting with the first bolt here for about an hour. Went to go twist it off. Damn near ripped the head right off of the bloody bolt. So now I'm just using some penetrating oil, heat oil, heat oil, heat oil. I managed to get it backed out just a little bit, but I still got a feeling that head's probably gonna rip right off, so super pumped for that. Alrighty, so I don't know if you can see, I got that bolt halfway out and then the head snapped on it. This bolt back here, down here, I hit her with some lube and some heat, came out perfectly, but yeah, don't want to make that mistake again. Alrighty, so I've taken a breather, took some time to assess the situation, and I managed to get the switching valve off. It was just 3 bolts here holding it onto the motor, an electrical connection, and then the vacuum hose there. So what I'm going to do is weld the nut onto here and then get that out, and then I'm sure I've got a replacement bolt around here somewhere that I can just throw in my drawer of nuts here. So I feel a little bit better about the situation now that I'm able to actually get that bolt out of there. It was just frustrating me. I didn't want to half-ass it because, you know, it's a Toyota and it should be reliable, and things need to be done right. So yeah, I guess with that being said, I'll let you guys know when I get this bolt out. Again, feeling a little bit better, a little more confident about the situation here. So once I get that out, we'll go from there. Okay, so I'm not sure if you can visibly see my frustration levels fluctuating through these clips. I don't know what that bolt was made of. The softest metal ever, just twisted all the rat hell. So I ended up drilling it out as best as I could. So we're just gonna do a nut and bolt there. I'm gonna give her a little wire wheel action, and that's hopefully gonna be it for this side. I can throw everything back on. Again, we're gonna be doing a nut and bolt on that one bolt there for obvious reasons. And yeah, I'm gonna go in, grab a bite to eat, but before I do that, I will be spraying the opposite side with some penetrating fluid prior to trying to rip everything apart. Again, this is an informational video, so I am, you know, obviously sharing my experiences, and that's basically where we're sitting right now. Alright, so driver's side is on. For anybody doing this job, just save yourself the trouble. Just buy yourself a 10mm replacement bolt, snap that bolt, take the pressure sensor out and drill it out. I wish I had done that from the beginning. Everything's back in, tightened up. I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the passenger side, which unfortunately looks even worse than the driver's side. So good times, good times. I'll let you guys know how I make out. Alrighty, so passenger side is on. I did myself a favor by putting that penetrating fluid on prior to me going to have lunch, because the passenger side took me like 5 minutes. Just had to undo a couple of vacuum lines, a couple electrical connectors, this vacuum line from up above the plenum here. So yeah, got everything out of the way. Was able just to back those bolts off enough to slide in the block off plate. Now it does say to torque these bolts down. I don't have a small enough torque wrench to do that. And even if I did, I'm not really sure I'm supposed to get it in there. So for the time being, I'm just hand tightening them, trying to do it even on both sides. I'm gonna go ahead, throw all the electrical connections on here, and then next thing that we have to do, which is the easy part. Let's knock on some wood there. The easy part, the electrical, just basically to trick the computer into thinking that those things are still working. Let's see how the rest of the install goes, man. Alrighty, so now what I'm going to do is locate the connectors under the engine bay, and luckily they're all right here, nice and easily accessible. I'm going to go ahead, disconnect all four, 1, 2, 3, 4. The low brake fluid sensor here needs to also be moved here, and then we're going to go ahead, follow the instructions and install these plugs where they're needed. Alrighty, so we've got the plugs in this gray socket as well as this black socket. Now it wants me to go ahead and remove the bracket from the fender that's holding all this stuff on. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. Hopefully those bolts are not too rusty. But we do need to pull that out just so I can mount the electrical harness that essentially tricks everything. And that's in this package right here. So I'm gonna go ahead, see if I can do my best to get that bracket out and install this and let you guys know how it went. Okay, so I was able to remove the bracket, and then what you need to do is undo the 2 bolts at the bottom here that hold this piece on. And then you basically undo these 2 screws right here. And when that comes off, this piece right here will screw into its place right there. And then we're gonna continue on with the wiring. Okay, so I've got the Hewitt Technologies wiring harness in here. Now, the instructions did say you can remove this one, but the screws were stripping out on me, and it's not connected to anything, so it can just stay there. But now what you gotta do is you're basically gonna connect your black connector right here to the black connector on the wiring harness, and then the gray connector to the gray connector on this wiring harness. And then we're going to connect the sub harness that connects to the valves, which basically runs across the top of the motor. And that should be it, man. So I'm going to go ahead, connect everything up here. With any luck, be finished within the next few minutes here. So fingers crossed, man. Alrighty, so there is a third connector on this little black box here. That connects to this wiring harness that they give you. And then these 2, as you can see, it's got 2 connectors. You unplug the factory harness, plug the factory harness into one end of the Hewitt Technologies harness, and then the other end plugs into the stock valve here. And then the harness runs up above the engine, and then we're doing the same thing on the opposite side here. So I'm gonna look at the instructions one more time, find out where they want me to route this line here. Just make sure that it's zip tied up and out of the way. And with that being said, this job should be done. I'm gonna get back to you guys. Okay, so I zip tied everything up and out of the way. Now I'm gonna go ahead and throw the engine cover back on. Now this kit, the instructions say that the code should be erased the next time these valves cycle. I'm not exactly sure how often they cycle. I'm pretty confident that it's quite often. So yeah, once the computer does its thing, we should have no pending codes. So I'm gonna wait until we finish off this video. I'm gonna drive the truck around for a couple of days, make sure that everything worked correctly. If we did have any bugs, I'll let you guys know about them. But yeah, that's gonna be it for now. The next clip should be us driving or just talking about it. Alrighty, so truck is idling. The check engine light as well as the traction light are both off. Those were both the symptoms that I was having. Traction control was automatically off, as well as the check engine light. But again, I'm gonna drive this thing for a couple of days, get back to you guys if anything changes. But as of right now, I've managed to save myself quite a few $1,000 because to actually fix this problem legitimately does cost quite a bit of money, which is why I decided to go this route. So with that being said, man, that's it for now. I'm gonna take this thing for a nice drive, let you guys know how it turns out. Alrighty, so it's been a couple days. I've put around 300 kilometers on the truck since I've installed the Hewitt Technologies bypass kit, and I gotta say I'm thoroughly impressed. Now in order to fix this correctly, there's a couple sensors and a couple of valves that they recommend that you replace, and I didn't want to do that. We don't have emissions here, so I was able to get this kit for like, just had to make that light there, aka do a little pull for y'all. Yeah, I was able to get this kit within a matter of days. Like, I really have to say the shipping was like super fast on this product. It was priced right. Obviously with the conversion, it was like 400 US. I think I paid close to 600, maybe a little bit more with the conversion there. So overall, I'm pretty impressed. It was a relatively easy install. Now, if I had to do it again and rate the install, I'd say it's a 9 out of 10. If you have any bolts that are like about to break, or the heads are stripping out, just break it off and drill it out and replace it. I wish I had done that to begin with, because I would have saved myself a lot of time and a lot of headache. But yeah, overall, I'm pretty happy with the product and the way that things went. But with that being said, I'm thinking we're probably going to put an end to this one. So if you guys did enjoy this video, don't forget to hit that like button. If you guys want to see more Toyota Tundra content, definitely smash that subscribe button. And you guys know the deal, man. With that being said, I am your boy Denali, aka Don Squally, and we gonna catch y'all mofos at the next one. Peace.